The last videos found me camping in the Flathead National Forest just north of Columbia Falls on the North Fork of the Flathead River. And of course I spent almost a week camping right by this beautiful river and even made an attempt to get into Glacier National Park, but I finally made it. And like most national parks I have visited, you have the slow drivers, the looky-loos, taking in all the sights, like this driver who's running over the center line so bad I had to pass him on the right. I don't blame the people, the drivers. There's no real shoulder on this road. There's just stone wall, so I imagine he was kind of spooked by the stone wall. And there's a few pull-offs, but most of them are full. You'll see this one coming up. It's one of the larger ones. Most of the ones coming up the road have parking for 3 or 4 cars. This is one of the larger ones, but you can see it's almost full too. In fact, the traffic is so bad at this park. This is one of the first parks I've seen a tour bus, and there's one on the left. It's not really a tour bus. It looks like a really old limousine, a stretch limousine, like a 1930s, looks like a big Duesenberg. It's real classy looking, but I passed several on the way up and a few on the way down, and it seems like that more people should take advantage of that. That way everybody in the vehicle gets to look around and stick their heads out the roof. I think they even had a moon roof, but I saw quite a few of those and they were stock full. A little bit of glacier coming down the side of the hill. There were several of those on this side of the mountains, and quite a few waterfalls. There's a huge waterfall at the top just before Logan Pass, and it's pretty nice. It would be nicer if there was a place to get out and walk along the waterfalls. I guess it's just the design of the park is probably not conducive to parking and hiking. I know there's a hiking trail at Logan Pass, but it was just so crowded up there. I didn't want anything to do with it. I didn't want to get on a hiking trail with 10,000 people any more than I wanted to ride the rest of the way through the park with all this traffic. But once I got past Logan Pass, it was pretty wide open, and a few cars, but they were sprinkled. And there's a beautiful lake on the other side. Hard to get down to the lake, but you could park on top of it and hike down. I think it seemed like there was a little island in the middle of the lake, even like Crater Lake. Not quite as big of a lake or an island, but it was pretty nice. There's another little glacier here, and a little bit of parking. So there is some parking, but it's a little bit sparse. I wish more people would have parked their cars and got out and taken a walk. Here's that spectacular waterfall. It's gushing off the side of the mountain here, and this is coming up into Logan Pass here. And I think I grabbed the camera and turn it back to the left here shortly, so get a little bit of a sense of what you're coming up. It's hard to get the scale from this little tiny camera I'm wearing on my chest, but it was spectacular all the way up and all the way outside of the park. Don't want to prevent anybody from visiting the park, just as long as you're aware of the traffic. It's a little bit frustrating. Just getting into the park is a little bit frustrating because it feels like rush hour traffic. But my goal was originally, the day I had my flat, was to get up here early in the morning as the sun was coming up to see the mountain sheep, mountain goats. Yeah, it's mountain sheep. They're supposed to be these beautiful white animals, long, fluffy white hair, and you can see them on Logan Pass apparently early in the morning as the sun comes up. But I blew that chance as I blew my rear tire, almost crashed even. And this is Logan Pass here. That's the big parking lot over to the right. There must be 1,500 cars over there in that parking lot. I could be wrong. I didn't slow down enough to take a look. But you can see it's just as beautiful on the other side, and the traffic thins out. Once people realize that they're going downhill, most of the people hit the first parking lot and turn around and come back out. But it's just as beautiful on this side as it is the other side, and I highly recommend maybe even spending more time over here, because there's lots more parking, there's lots more space and air between people, and if I did it again, that's what I would do. I would come back to this side and maybe explore and do some hiking, but I had a long day of riding today, so I just wanted to come in here and poke my head around and say I've been to the park since I had a pass.
So I came from West Glacier and went across Logan Pass, going to the Sun Road, and this is East Glacier. I'm out of the park now. I'm not sure if I don't think this is federal land at all. I think this may be Lake County, or I don't know, but there's this interesting road, so I'm going to take this a little ways and see what else I can see. I'm glad to be in the dirt and away from the freaking tourists. I mean, it was beautiful, just like every national park. They're beautiful, but they're overrun. And, you know, that as far as I'm concerned, that takes away the thrill of seeing most of the stuff that I'm able to see anyway. I've been parked here for 15 minutes and haven't seen a single vehicle, so this is kind of what I look for. There's just not that much, especially on this side of the park. The east side is covered up with people and beautiful pavement, beautiful scenery. I want to see how close I can get to the park on this road. Gonna find out.
So as it turns out, of course, I had much more fun outside the national park on a dirt road and on the pavement outside the park than I did the whole day touring the park. Yes, it was spectacular. Yes, I would encourage you to go. This was still summer, so I imagine that had a lot to do with all the people. But as soon as I got to the end of this dirt road, I turned around and hit the pavement, and then did a big, long southerly circle around the park. But I had so much more fun on these roads. It's almost as beautiful outside the park. The roads were just incredibly beautiful, smooth pavement. There's a little cow in the road. I mean, it is Montana, so what do you expect? But I had a blast the rest of the day riding, and it's kind of unbeatable. You have to get up here. Montana is one of the most beautiful states I've ever seen in my life. It's just covered in beauty, and I don't have a single bad thing to say about it. So come check it out. Join me next time as I move westward into Lolo National Forest and see some things you will never believe.